And welcome back to the hottest marriage show in the world. It is I, John D, and the...
Dude.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Are you? Mm-hmm. Anyways, welcome to Doing Too Much. We are the podcast that have conversations about remarkable things that are happening in our household. And I wanted to bring up something before we get into what I really want to talk about. But what did you think of that walk we just came from?
It was great. Hey, oh yeah. So we went on a walk and we finally made our kids go out with us. And have a conversation with our kids is always so crazy because they are so naturally more evolved than me. They're thinking how they view life, relationships, people, and not just relationships like romantic, but just who they'll let in their circle. I love that. I love learning more about them.
Yeah. You know what's so crazy is that my father, his only criteria in dating was, he said he didn't care what she looked like. It just better not be a man. And just thinking about, how that could curve somebody's perspective. Not saying that I was looking in that direction, although I did think about that as an adult to make sure that I wasn't following. I wanted to make sure I was being true within myself. And it came to the determination that I was just attracted to women. So, but to be able to have conversations about your kids or with your kids about having just free thinking without being judged, you get different answers from your kids.
Yeah, my dad said just don't bring him no mixed grandbabies. That was his requirement.
And she still brought mixed grandbabies.
I did. Not the mixed he was talking about,
I know. But just to listen to how broader their vision or perspective is going to be in life. Mm-hmm. I was talking to somebody today. We're just saying we're just helping our kids to make better decisions when they leave. Mm-hmm. Like we're trying to create this foundation so that they can make the best decisions so that it's just growing versus, staying the same or going backward. Mm-hmm. And the relationships, the way they look at relationships was so peaceful. It was almost like how did we get this?
These kids have never matched us though.
Oh yeah, they definitely. So if you just it's a different generation of kid.
Yeah.
Like our influences, the way that we grew up, wasn't very.
All the things I've tried to instill in them, y'all, they just be like, "Mom,
we don't believe you. We need more people."
I'm like, but they're like, "No, mm-mm."
Yeah,
their non-negotiables are different than what my non-negotiables were growing up. But they're very, very firm on what they believe.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool. But yeah, I was like, but what if they're this? They're like, yeah, we don't. That doesn't matter. No, I need it to matter. No, it doesn't matter. Okay.
The things that it's almost like comparing it to the NBA. When I listen to analysts, they talk about old school basketball versus now and how it's evolved. And it's like, if you believe the things that you were taught are right, then you're the old school, you're the old media. You have to believe there's some type of it's a new game out there. And if you don't evolve with it, your kids are going to feel like they're alone. So it made me feel really good today to feel like they were open enough to talk about the way they viewed life.
I enjoyed it. I just saw a woodchuck walking over there.
Really?
I just wanted to tell y'all that. John gets tired of me saying, look, a deer, because we see deer all the time. But I think they're beautiful. But I just saw a little chubby little woodchuck go across the yard. So that's kind of cool too. Sorry. But I'm with you. I agree. I really enjoy learning more about them.
So I want to get into what I mentioned earlier you asked about it, I think yesterday or the day before. It was like, is marriage a scam?
Yeah, I think it's a scam, y'all. I mean, I'm in it, so I'm not gonna hate on nobody who's in one. I'm just saying that it's a scam.
For who?
For women, I think it's a scam. I think so I was discussing with one of my girlfriends about marriage, and the idea floated around that like, you know, in the beginning, the idea of marriage, it was a business transaction. You paid this man money, and then he gave you his daughter, and you slapped your name on her because now she was yours. And then she moves into your house and she does everything that her mom has been modeling her to do. So now she has your kids. She takes care of everything. But the transaction was also she's protected and provided for. So once we evolve to the point where we can have our own jobs, we can have our own bank account, we can own property. Like once the providing comes out, right? The protection thing, I don't know. That's debatable, truthfully. But like, so what's the benefit? So we were talking about how when men get into a marriage, regardless of how society has changed and women are working, women are still taking care of children, bearing children, managing households, and sometimes managing the husband himself. And the husband, just true to form historically, he continues to be able to focus on career. His wife makes the home life look good. The kids look good. Like she makes sure that he looks good from all optics, like all aspects. And he handles the career so that, 360 degrees around him, he's looking great. Now, she has to make sure that she's managing the house so that when she's working, she's not made to feel like she's neglecting her family, and that's why her career is amazing. Because they never ask. I saw Gabrielle Union. She said in an interview, she was like, everybody asks me, how do I manage it all? How do I balance it all? But y'all never asked Dwayne that. And so I think that women have to make the household look good. And if they want to be great at their career, they have to find a way to create more of themselves. Like they have to multiply themselves in order to be able to do it. And so, and if they don't, then it's like you should be an at-home mom. But if you're an at-home mom, some women be looking at you like why you got to be, this isn't what we do. You should be, pursuing this, and you don't have to deal with that. And so, circling back around, we were just basically talking about what benefits do the women get from marriage, and what benefits do the men get from marriage. And then looking at it, we're like raised to feel like being married is the pinnacle of all things. That's like where your happiness, that's the thing. You just got to get that. You got the career, you got the house, you got the car, you travel, you look great. When are you getting married? And then when you're getting married, when are you having kids? Like once they get that, then that's the thing that they feel like the woman has it all. But if she chose to date a guy for the rest of her life, we see how they treat Oprah. Date a guy for the rest of her life or not have children or whatever the case may be, people look at her like she didn't really try to really reach her full potential of happy. Why?
I was trying to wonder, or trying to think. I guess it is a different narrative for single men that, okay, so I was trying to do my best without bashing the place where man is in this place and time. But where we are, if the woman doesn't make that sacrifice, there's no way that a family can truly be where it needs to be, where a man can actually become a man. Like if a woman does not accept that responsibility, there's no way that the man will have enough time to be able to instill in his son the right way. So remember what I told you, whatever the parents don't figure out, the kids are going to have to figure out. Mm-hmm. So at some point, a woman will have to bear. That's why if you think about the foundation of it all, but we're just copying. So men are lost. We're still doing the traditional values of what we were taught, opposed to thinking like, because when I was just listening to the rundown of everything that women got to go through, I was like,
oh, that is shitty. I'm glad I'm not a woman.
I'll say this. To be a woman, to be able to do that, and to be able to balance all of those things, I mean, that's very difficult. Mm-hmm. You know, so I mean, like if you do it well, you'll definitely be acknowledged for it. But nobody wants to go through that, right? But you do know, if you ever see a beautiful family, that somebody had to step up for women, for a man to figure it out.
I don't understand. Somebody had to
three
step
generations,
up for a woman.
three generations from now, right?
Okay.
The woman will never talk about like you again.
Okay.
Not never.
Okay.
A woman won't speak like you.
It's a scam.
Yeah, because the women in our family will already know what a man looks like, and our men will already know how to treat a woman.
Yeah, and then that brings about the whole idea of, okay, so how do you raise your kids so that, truthfully, is how do you raise your son to be a partner and not a husband? I think that there's a difference. And and so I definitely want Dallas to learn how to be a partner. But I found it interesting in our walk today, talking today, I'd asked her, did she feel like she had to be married? And she was like, no, if I find the right person, then that's great. But if I don't, I'm just going to adopt and live my life. And I was like, And I know that partnership is really, really, like, you want somebody to share life with and have a good time with. And it can be your friends. It could also be a romantic partner. But let me ask you this. So what if we never got married? We did have a child together. We lived in close proximity and we loved each other to death. Would that be enough?
Not for me. I don't like, our family wouldn't be able to get to the next level.
But would you have been thinking about that at 30 though?
No, but we can only think about what occurred. You're like making me have a hypothetical of something that the last thought I would ever want is to raise, the kids from a different household. Mm-hmm. So I don't think a father can be effective out of the household versus inside the house. If he when a father says, I can be a good father outside. Yeah, you can, but you can't. If you're that father outside of the household, just imagine who you are if you were inside the household. Mm-hmm. So there's two different fathers. So whatever you think you could be outside because you couldn't figure out how to make this work, you can't think that you're the coldest version of yourself as a father if you don't see them waking up, going to sleep.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. So say when we first met, and I was like, I don't want a relationship because I had just gotten out of a bad one. And you were like, cool, because I'm not interested in having a relationship either. Mm-hmm. So say we continued that way.
I was on that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And we never got pregnant, but we just continued life like that. Would you be able to continue life like that with me?
No. Well, I mean, what kind of situation am I in? I mean, what we were?
No, I mean, we could even expand on, like, we saw each other's we knew each other's families too. We spent time with each other's family. We were in a relationship.
I know,
we
but
just
we were
never got married. Like, if I said I was traumatized by the idea of marriage from my parents, I wasn't clearly. But, and I said I don't want to be married. I want to be.
Are we in the same city?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I don't know. No, I was immature as hell.
What about you now? If you didn't have any kids and we did that, would you be able to do that?
Do I know you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I told you if you and I don't work, I don't think I would invest my time in any other person. like I would have to just be around my friends, because the idea of getting to know somebody else, like to know where we are now, that was a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And I know it was a lot of work for you, but I'm talking about for me to even get to the point where I realized that how poorly I communicated throughout the years and was able to express my emotions. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to try to figure out with somebody else. Like, no. Yeah, honestly, I really feel like we'll live a long time, but I'll die shortly after you.
Well, I was just curious as to, because like, and I was telling you before in the conversation, like I think back to that little 500 square foot apartment I had in grad school, and it was just like great to be able to like unplug and really unplug. I didn't have to worry about, you know, if this kid was doing this or if, you know, you needed that or whatever. And to imagine being able to be in love and have all the perks of being in love, but then being able to go into my corner when I need to, it just sounds really, really sexy. I really love marriage, y'all. I'm just saying. I was just, I'm curious as to would grown John be able to see himself doing that? Because I told him there are couples who live in separate houses.
Yeah, I know, but they won't be where we are. I don't believe that, because I feel like it's just too much going on when you're not together. Like, there are certain habits that I know that you just have. You know, I couldn't get that if I lived in another house. Like, maybe that's not important to them, but to me, I feel like we can't really get close until we figure out like the stuff that you're just supposed to know. And I don't know those things because there's no book or whatnot, but the idea to think that you and I could get close in two different households versus being in a household, it seems like so much time lost. Like to learn somebody's behaviors, or to say, oh, she doesn't like this. Oh, I can tell she likes this. I would have to wait until we saw each other for me to like put all of it.
I mean, it ain't like we wouldn't stay the night at each other's houses or anything. But
yeah, I know. But I mean, how about this? So like we have like our own bills. Like what's the
right?
Like we're gonna have like.
But you know that there was something else that my friend said. She was like, you know, there's so much negotiation that has to go on in a marriage, like what you buy for groceries. If you feel like you could eat cereal for the rest of the week for dinner, but your significant other, you're like, they would never go for that. It's like, oh,
but I think like this, I think we should just take the healthiest route. Whoever decides
cereal?
to help.
Oh, go ahead.
Like if you said cereal and I said, no, we probably need to do this, and I could prove that it was better, you like, yeah, we probably should do it that way.
But what if I was like exhausted for the week and I was like, I don't want to cook
then I will cook
all week
then
long.
I should be able to do that for you.
Oh, okay.
Like, I don't understand. Like, if you live by yourself, like, you probably going to be eating cereal.
Right. I used to eat really well. I used to really treat myself. I dated myself when I was by myself. But anyway, I don't know if you fully said it all. What is it? What would you say about benefit? Who, like, do you understand what I mean when I say marriage is a scam for women based on who benefits the most?
Yeah, I do. I think.
What do women benefit from in a marriage today in 2022?
It just depends on how far the man has evolved.
Okay, so in general,
if the woman believes that the man is doing more than she anticipated, or he's doing it, then it was worth it. I
mean, yeah, if he takes care of her in the sense of like
the way that I'm trying to get to you, where if a woman can really tell, they can like, he is really doing that, and we'll be like, I don't think he's gotten there yet.
So honestly, as a man, what benefits do men get from marriage that surpass what women get?
It just depends on that man's path. What does he want his path to look like? So can you ask a better question?
Okay, so as an example, can I use the example about the luggage?
If you want.
Okay, so we used to go on a lot of trips when we lived overseas, and I packed my bag, the kids' bags, John packed his bag. Then I got to the point where I started teaching the kids to pack their bags. And one day, John had to go out of town. and he had to fly out after work. He didn't have time to do his bag. So I was like, okay, I'll pack your bag for you. So I pack his bag, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, whatever he may end up doing, I want to make sure he has, what if they go out? What if they have this? What if they have that? Blah, blah, blah. So he goes on this trip. He comes back. He said, that was the greatest bag I've ever had. It was like, there was stuff no matter what, whatever anybody wanted to do. Because John went on trips with a book bag. John would put, like, he's going for 3 days. John's putting 3 shirts, 2 pairs of shorts, and a change of shoes maybe, and his regular like underwear, socks or whatever. But he's not planning for much beyond that. Everything needs to be able to fit in this backpack. And even your frat brother, like he went out of town this week, and his frat brother had asked him, did he say, I thought you were going to come with a backpack?
And he's like, did you just come in the backpack again or something?
He said, so okay. So he's getting ready to go on this. First of all, last year when John came back, the day after he landed, we were going to a friend's birthday in Atlanta, and I had not packed John's bag in 18 months. Do you know this man went down there with 1 pair of socks, 2 pair of underwear, a shirt, and 3 pair of shorts?
It wasn't that bad. It was just a few things missing.
There were definitely holes. There were definitely holes in what he should have had in the bag. So he was like, I thought you were going to pack my bag, and then you didn't. So I just put together what I could. So he goes, this trip, the day he was like, can you pack my bag, just in case there are other things that are going on? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So the day before he's supposed to leave, I had a family medical emergency. So I was gone out of the house for like from 1:30 in the morning till in the afternoon to 11:30 in the morning. 1:30 in the afternoon to 11:30 in the evening, 10 hours. And when I came back the next morning at 3:30, I was supposed to drive John to the airport. So I go into the closet. There's his luggage. There's some clothes on the floor, but I'm figuring, it's just stuff he chose not to wear. And then I go to sleep. So he wakes up at 3:30 and he's moving around. He said, why didn't you pack my bag? Now, first of all, let's fight, because I've been gone for 10 hours sitting at a hospital. And this man, he was walking around the house. I said, do you have your socks? Okay, how many shirts do you have? Like, we were going through
fooling.
No, I'm not. I'm serious. We were talking about it while you were walking. So I'm sitting here thinking John's packing while we're talking. So the fact that he didn't pack his bag, I was like, dude, what in the world?
First of all, you're telling the story wrong. What? You said grab these things and I'll put them in the bag.
I said that before I left. I said grab the things, and then when I get back, because I thought I was going to be back at like 4:30.
You and I were talking on the phone when I was grabbing these things. Okay. You said, John, grab this, grab that, right?
I definitely said, John, grab this, grab
while
that.
we were on the phone.
Okay, I might not have remembered that part of saying that I would still do it. But I was thinking to myself, I'm so glad that he's handling this right now, because I'm going to be so tired, because I just couldn't figure out when her surgery was going to be done. So we get, when I get home, I'm so tired and I see this bag. So I was like, okay, he's good. But when he yelled, like, it was really like not a yell at you. It was like a, oh no, you didn't pack my bag. I was like, is this dude serious? So then I'm saying, okay, that's a benefit of having a wife, is that you would feel like, I don't have to worry about this. So then I said, John, did you go to bed early? And you're like, no, I went about 11. So you went to sleep 30 minutes before me, but you were kicking it with your friend. And so I'm sitting here thinking to myself,
my friend was gone by 6:37.
I know, but then you stayed up until 11 and you still didn't, you wasn't like, oh, it's getting late, maybe I should just pack it anyway. You're like, oh, I'll wait for her to come home.
No, yeah, that didn't cross my mind, because I felt like, hold on, check this out. The reason why we're having you pack it is because it'll be packed correctly. It's not because I can't pack my bag.
So is it like the way I organize it or the things I put in it?
All of it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't look like the way that I put it in there.
So y'all. So then I was like, oh, like it's almost 4. I said, okay, I'll pack your bag. He said, no, it's okay, I got it. So this man unzips his suitcase and grabs the stuff as it is on the ground and lays it inside the bag and just zips that thing up, and he's on his way out the door, right? And so this kind of having this conversation spurred the conversation with my friend about marriage and who benefits more. And so it's like, you know, men have the benefit of knowing that there is someone who understands that their role is supposed to include taking care of him. But men are not taught that a part of their role is to take care of women in that way. They are still operating off of I protect and I provide.
Well, see, I think the biggest problem I have with this is because if we look at why I don't know how to pack a bag.
No, well, go ahead.
Like the reasons why I don't know how to pack a bag. I didn't grow up like everybody else with a mother, you know, and a lot of this stuff sound like women stuff. And the guys that I know, they grew up with their mothers. They know how to pack a bag. I didn't have a mother like that. My father didn't show me how to pack a bag. And this idea like I was supposed to find YouTube before it came out and learn how to pack a bag. So the whole idea of you protecting me this way because I just feel like you don't want me to go out with no coat on. So why would you pack my bag? This is something that comes really easy to you. Yeah. And you already know the struggles I have with it. So I'm trying to figure out why do you feel like your responsibility list just went so much more? I don't understand. And if it's something that I'm not doing as a man, it's not because I'm trying to figure out how I can be easy or not get it done. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. So if you say, John, have you considered doing this? I'm like, no. And then I would do it. So the idea is like, you know, I'm going to just see how long he going to just make me mad. I don't understand. Like, do you think I'm like trying to figure out this will really set it off?
No. But I'm still saying like, okay, so in the end, we know that the balance that is imbalanced as far as the benefits of what someone gets from marriage. We both get to have a family. We both get to have a partner.
I don't think that's fair either because what you're saying is almost like you really feel like you got the shitty end of the deal. And when I say that, it's like you could have really got the shitty end of the deal. And I agree.
No, aside from what I'm saying to you is, okay, there are things that we both benefit from. We get to grow a family. We get a partnership. But when a man comes in, he comes in with an expectation that there is someone else. So
are you talking about me or are you talking about men?
Generally, because, and you as well, when we came into this marriage, like there's an understanding that your household overall, your children and stuff like that, it was managed. Like you didn't have to wonder what was, you know, well, are the kids home, you know, their homework going to get done? You didn't have to worry about the details.
I don't think any man.
But that's what I'm saying, men in general. So you come into a marriage and you understand that you're going to have a life. And very much so what that life looks like depends on the caliber of the wife that you have and how she can create this life for you. All you have to do is make sure that you can provide.
Are you telling me that when this was going on that you didn't think that was your job?
Yeah, but that's what I told you. It's a scam because this is what we're taught.
I'm saying it was a scam. I get it. It was a scam then.
No, so it wasn't a scam way back when it was like the dowry and then because the woman wasn't working.
Oh, no, I
so
get
that
it.
was
I
her
agree.
role. But now that a woman works and she does this role, it's like when we walk into marriage, we walk into understanding that if we want a career, we're also accepting a second job.
But you know who gets scammed? The one that does not have any experience in their capabilities. So what? If you got into this knowing that you were going to do that.
But what I'm saying to you is that I have been conditioned, as most women, that this
same way as men.
Yes, but what I'm saying to you is, so I walk into this knowing I'm taking on a second job without understanding the concept that I'm literally taking on a second job. Mm-hmm. And you're coming in and you're like, it's not crossing your mind that now I have a second job. See, so
no, you're right. But I'll tell you this. Mm-hmm. You had the mindset of doing that anyway. I didn't have the mindset for you. I know, but I didn't have the mindset for you to do that. In my head, I thought I was going to do 50%. And I didn't know. You? First of all, you couldn't even describe the things you were doing.
No, but what I'm saying is no shade.
No, I'm saying, but you said, but were you, my intent was to do what? Because I wanted to do 50%. I said, look, whatever it is, if we don't work out, I don't want you to be able to say these things. I said that. But if you can't get me to understand, like in my head, I thought I was doing it. I look back, of course, I was not pulling my weight. But I didn't know I had that weight.
Well, I mean, even in the stuff where I would be like, John, let's go, like the infamous, let's go to the museum. When I was like, let's go to the museum, and you were like disgruntled the entire time. Did you feel like you were doing their 50% of doing family activities?
See, it's interesting how you're asking these questions. Like, chick, no, this is what I'm saying. You knew how I grew up. So I could say this, that you did a horrible job with finding a mate.
Shut up.
No, because now I need you.
Yes,
No,
okay,
if you're gonna,
I got you. I did. Go.
Horrible job.
I did.
So if you're going to bring up those things, you got to know, since your job was so horrible in picking your mate, you had to go through those things for me to get to this point.
But the thing is that who you were I really, and this is how I fell for it. And not necessarily that you tried to make me fall for it, but because you grew up in a home where your father was the primary caregiver, in my head, your dad was doing everything my mom was doing. I was like, he was raised by his dad. So he knows what it is for a man to take on all the responsibilities of caring for a kid. So in us caring for children together, you wouldn't be the kind of dad that would just be like, sitting by and let me do whatever. Because you've seen, it's been modeled for you that a man does all of these things. Now, later on, I learned that these were different parents who were raising these kids. And so I couldn't assume that your dad was doing what my mom was doing. But when I was choosing a mate, I literally thought I was choosing somebody who was going to like go 50-50 because it had been modeled that was the role a man was supposed to take in the house. That's what I thought. Now, in this case, it backfired. But what I'm saying is, if we're all taught that this is what it's supposed to look like, if we're all taught that this is our role, but society and expectations and roles and responsibilities have changed. But what I want to draw attention to is that women's roles and responsibilities have evolved and changed, but expectations for men hasn't. And we continue the same process thinking, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And men are continuing the process thinking this is what we're supposed to be doing. But we're both doing like outdated, we're both being trained in an outdated way. Look at how it's like, do you think that a wife should be trying to pursue a career like her husband, but she's also shouldering the majority of the household? No. But that's how it goes in most cases. And women are, because we're taught this way and all the messaging is telling us this, when we walk into a marriage, we already know that this is our expectation and we've seen it done and managed by other women. So we think this is just what we do.
So
but
what's the problem then?
It really shouldn't be. If we're in a partnership, then once that role had changed and women started working, then the responsibilities in the household should have been leveled out. Because now this woman, the man didn't have to do anything because he was working all day and then he came home and he was tired. But what if the woman is working all day and she comes home and she's tired? It doesn't cross anybody's mind that like it's not a natural teaching to any of us. Like, when your wife is working as much as you, so when y'all come home from work, you're both tired.
So do you know married people where there's a woman cooking every day?
I don't know. I don't think about other people's household. However,
does that happen in our house?
No, but don't act like it was like always where we were always rotating dinners like that.
No, but I just want you to know if I'm asking a question, mm-hmm. I'm thinking it's between you and I, but then you make a comment like it's a general comment.
No,
but
because
now,
I'm trying to make it general because it can't be too individualized to us because.
So I was asking you if you knew women that were cooking every day. So I wanted to see how, because I don't know any woman that's married that cooks like the traditional sense that you're saying. So I'm trying to figure out what messaging.
Okay, so after say we're sharing cooking, right? Are we sharing everything? Like, do you know relationships in which you would say that the man does the majority or he does equal?
No.
Yeah, and so I'm saying there's still an imbalance. You still see an imbalance somewhere, right?
So
it doesn't have to be grotesque. It doesn't have to be grossly different. I'm just saying, I said grotesque. It doesn't have to be grossly different. I'm just saying, is there still an imbalance, but you know that she's working hard every day with you. Like, y'all are going and you're working, but when she comes home, nobody has taught that man to think, like, she's doing the same thing I'm doing. So let me see what else I can do around. It has to be asked. Like, can you help me with this? Can you share some of what I have to? Can you take something off my plate?
I guess you further double back to what you were talking about earlier. Like, why does a woman have to do that? Because a woman is eventually going to have to do that to get to the stage where they can raise a man to know what they need to look for, and a woman to be able to recognize a man who can do it.
It's a generational thing. But what was just really getting me is talking to a friend and us looking at it and saying, you know, our generation, the generation of women who started working, they had to do some level of negotiation as well to be able to make that money and do. So they were like, look, I'll do the house and I'll do the job. But as we went on, there was no renegotiation. Like, nobody was sitting at the table. And so I'm saying right now, today, our generation, are we all looking at it and renegotiating these roles and responsibilities?
I don't know any man that wanted their woman to do that anyway. It became that because there was all the women that were qualified to do that. If the way that I look at history, men would rather be just responsible for all of that. They don't want
for
women
all of what?
Like, for the household. Like, so
the man would want to be responsible
to be
for
the breadwinner,
taking care of the kids and stuff. Oh, you're saying they would want the traditional role?
Yeah, that's because that's what I'm saying. So, like, the whole idea, you're making it seem like it wasn't no negotiation. You decided to accept the responsibility. Man didn't tell you to do it. You had to do it because you had to do it for some type of survival or whatnot. You had to. I get it. I'm just saying that the negotiate. You made it seem like men said we want you to go to work.
No, so what I'm saying to you is right now, in 2022, we are not in 1952. And so I would like to know how many people have really renegotiated based on that understanding so that marriage isn't a scam anymore. It's not something where people put a red bow on it and have streamers and stuff hanging out of it and give it to a girl like it's a gift. And really, when she opened it up, it's some work overalls and boots. Like, let it be. It's given to us as it's the pinnacle of where you've reached happiness in life when you're married and you have kids. And it's supposed to be like, wow, I've made it. But when you walk through the door, you've really made it to working 2 jobs, maybe 3. And so what I'm saying is this is what it is now. And we can see that there's an imbalance in benefit. Before, it was he provides for me and he protects me. She manages my home. So now he provides, I provide. ADT protects or ring alarm protects. That's right. Okay, I'm playing. Okay, stop. Okay, so he provides and she provides. But then the unspoken rule is that the inner workings of the house are hers, and if she needs help, she can ask.
See, that's what I'm saying. You're making a lot of assumptions, and that's like,
you don't think that's how we're taught?
No.
Maybe that's how you level.
I don't know. I really don't know. And I don't want to like tell you how women think, but I don't think it's fair for you to say all of those. Maybe that's how you were taught. But everybody looks at it differently.
So you don't think girls were taught, and it wasn't modeled to us that when we got married, we would raise children and we would take care of the house?
Not when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I think we talked about that. It wasn't like that because women became independent, like as our age when they became adults. Mm-hmm. So the idea
when women were like, singing the independent song and stuff, do you think that they were marching to the independence song when they got married, and they were like, okay, so now when we in this house, you doing exactly what I'm doing.
I didn't hear them songs about that.
Oh.
So I don't know.
Beyonce used to sing it. Okay. Well, I mean, it is
No,
what it is.
no.
I'm just saying from a woman's perspective, when I'm looking at the messaging I've gotten over time, it just looks like they dressed up a lot of work to seem like it was the big reward. And truthfully, what they should dress up, they should be posting it as, is this is a lot of work. I don't think that they don't make that the main message. They make it like, this is like the dress and the children, and it's going to be so cute and it's going to be one. But I think that I would have appreciated knowing that it's like, hey, if this is the path you choose, you just got to know that there's work in it. Like, they don't tell you there's work in it. Not like that.
I think that
they romanticize it.
I'm not going to say that they don't, but I think it just shows to prove that if you get caught in a situation like that, you don't think very much. Because
so all women who got married
in the way that you're describing, if they have,
I don't want to say that I don't like.
Let me finish
okay,
it.
go ahead.
Let me finish it. Mm-hmm. The way that you're describing it, if a woman gets in a situation like that, she did not think very much, because if she can provide and let ADT protect them, and she didn't negotiate the rest of the part, she did not think about everything else. Like, why would you think a man is going to say, hey, this isn't fair? Like, a man, in order for them to say that, has to be like exposed to something else.
Okay.
And if you're defending that, then that man wasn't exposed to something else, or that woman's not thinking and accepted all of that responsibility without thinking.
I think you're missing what I'm saying, in the sense that I'm saying, and this is why I'm generalizing it. It doesn't have to do with the person as an individual. It has to do with the messaging, and it has to do with what people are taught these roles are once you get into it. I'm not saying you, young man, are a jerk because you get in a marriage and you feel like your wife is supposed to take care of everything. I'm not saying you, young lady, are dumb as hell because you got in here and you didn't think that you were going to have to do all of the work in the household and work a job. I didn't say that. I was saying that the messaging is continuously telling us this. And this is not the world we live in anymore.
That's what I'm saying. Where are you seeing that messaging? I don't understand. Like I told you, you said when you grew up. And I said, I didn't see it.
Well, you didn't see my messaging because you're not a girl.
No, I'm just saying, like, well, if you're describing it to me, you say this is the messaging, I thought that you were saying, and so for me to say, like, oh, that's what you're talking about.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. What messages did you get about marriage growing up?
I didn't care about it because I didn't want to do it. Like, I didn't want to get married. Like, I didn't want to be responsible for nobody. So I didn't want no kids. I didn't want any of that. So the messaging missed me anyway because I didn't like what I was seeing.
Okay. Well, and that was because of your individual experience.
Well, I watched the Cosby Show too. I watched all that other shows, the Family Matters and all of that. Mm-hmm. I still didn't entice me at all.
Okay. I think that what I might have in this instance is, sure enough, you may have been somebody that all the messaging just flew over your head. Or there was no messaging. They're
possibly.
Just like, maybe guys, when you grow up, nobody talks to you about getting married. Nobody shows it as being of value to you. It's not.
Well, in my household, it wasn't going to be there for sure.
Yeah, it's not a jewel in your crown. But for a young woman, it's something that may define her experiences, whether she's being complete or not. I won't disagree.
I understand as you become an adult, I can see when people say that, but I don't see that as much as if that's like a old thing. Like, I definitely heard it before, but I don't hear it as much as you make it seem like that message isn't for day.
No,
that's what I'm saying. I don't even think kids heard generation. Like you even said, the generation of kids. So are we talking about stuff that
we're talking about our generation, John? I'm saying the generations before us and us now, mm-hmm. Even if we're the last to get it, I'm saying that this is the messaging that my cohort has gotten.
Correct.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, like, I told you that woman is going to have to be the foundation for that family to grow.
Well, and I understand. I don't think that the generations that come from us and after us are going to think this way. I think there's so many different ways in which we've evolved in our way of thinking, how we raise our kids, the messages that we pass on, what we value. I think that this group is the beginning of a whole different switch.
For sure.
But my conversation with you was about messaging that my cohort and those before me have gotten.
And I'm saying that your cohort are still producing kids that look like the same cohort you're talking about.
Maybe. But what I know that is when you really think about it, then it makes you more conscious of how you raise your sons and how you raise your daughters. And I believe that in the way that we speak and teach Day in Dallas, I want Dallas to be a partner. I don't want him to be a traditional husband, because I feel like the roles and responsibilities of a husband, they are outdated. I think that a partner is a better way of describing the expectation of someone who truly is coming into this and trying to do something with someone. And I think Dallas has it in him. I think that Day is definitely, she's the type of girl, and she'll be the type of woman that will understand that too. I don't think that, like, there are going to be some that are still receiving that messaging because people don't understand. But if you sit there and you think about how the scales are imbalanced, you don't want your son to be a product of that thought process. And you don't want your daughter to, I don't want Day to come home and just be overwhelmed. Like, there have been times that I've been overwhelmed with work and with kids and with relationship, and I was really in a dark place. I don't want that to be something that takes, if something gonna take Day down, don't let it be that. Let her learn from me. Like, don't stumble over the same stones that I stumbled over. And so I'm really going to make a conscious effort to make sure that Day in Dallas are not a reflection of that thoughtless messaging that I was getting as a kid. And I mean, you know, might be other people who listen and they'll be like, yeah, I mean, I got that too. Yeah, I got. And even if you didn't know you got it, what in your marriage, when you think about what roles you play, do you see some of that in there? We don't always know what messages we're getting. Sometimes it's in the background and we don't know. But what I'm saying is, this was just one of my friends and I just talking about generation wise where we are and how it's about to turn a corner. And Day in Dallas are proof of that in this conversation we had with them earlier today. So that's cool.
Yeah. I guess it'll turn a corner for them because of where they are in life. But I just, like I said, I think you only know what you know. And if I don't see us being here if we weren't willing to be exposed to different ways that people think, to just say, hey, maybe this is wrong, because we still have friends that are pretty stuck in ways that they feel like it's just the best way for them to move. Like, just with affection, giving hugs and kisses. Mm-hmm. There's men that still don't do that. And, to convince somebody that they can, give affection to their sons, like the idea, like if we're worried about what it looks in the household, like we still trying to figure out how to be a man, let alone worry about marriage. So if a woman is worried about those things, she better be very careful on who she selects, because she could be going through she could go through a shitstorm. And if you don't know what a man looks like, you're supposed to go through it, because if you don't, somebody else, your daughter gonna go through it until somebody figures it out. But I don't think any man wants to ever put their wife through any kind of hell.
I didn't say anybody was going through it trying to intentionally.
No, I'm saying that you the way you describe it, like you hope Dallas isn't like that. Like nobody wants their kids to I don't know, to go through the things that they went through.
Yeah, but I don't think that everybody stops to think, okay, how can I teach differently so that it, you're used to seeing a cycle and you've seen it time and time again in your family. And not everybody, some people are going to continue the cycle. We've seen proof of it. So I'm saying I want to deliberately make sure that that's something that I address. I don't want to just skate over it. But I don't think that men just go through and try to shit on their wife. I don't think that that's what it is. I'm just saying.
Well, I still think that women still need to make a better selection with who they select, because that's what's going to happen. And men are just reflections of their company. So I don't know. It's hard to get that information when all you know is what you know. But I'm not going to beat the dead horse, even though I did.
You did.
Anybody you want to give a shout out before we get out of here?
I would like to give a shout out to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, because at a couple of points in this conversation, I was trying to pull my sword out and fight. I know y'all heard it. I was unsheathing my sword up in this mug. But no.
At least y'all know who's ready to fight all the time.
I don't have anybody else that I want to shout out.
Well, I want to give a shout out to the Qs. Came back from the Grand Conclave, 83rd Grand Conclave. It was a great experience, very purposeful for me. Saw a lot of bros. One of my neos got elected to Grand Council. That was awesome. Charter member got a grandson accepted an award for being inducted to the Omega Hall of Fame. Herb Adderley. Congratulations to him and his family. Overall, it was a great weekend, but I can see how things are getting better. When I say that, I mean we're evolving as black men, and I knew she was pulling out that sword too. I just want to get back to that, but I'm glad we got out of here without anybody getting cut too much. But shout out to the Qs for a successful Grand Conclave. See you guys in Tampa. Make today better than yesterday. Don't worry about anything you can't control. GATA. Get after that action, or that action will get after you. Be great on purpose. Boom.